Let's do it. We got Luis J. Gomez in the building, man.
What's up, kid?
Very happy to have you here. We appreciate you coming through.
Thank you.
I feel like it's been even crazier than usual for the Legion of Skanks. Would you say yes or no to that? I mean, you guys are always fucking wild, but maybe I just started paying more attention. But between the election and that crazy fucking drunk fan at the show, you're doing the MMA fight, Seth Simons and everyone chirping. It just seems like everywhere I look, the Legion of Skanks is crazy.
Yeah, crazy's always good though. Emotion sells. You get people emotional. This is why Trump's in office, because people are too emotional. You know,
for sure.
And I think that, it is sort of. It's always a little bit of a crazy time. I have a theory in this business. If you don't have anything going on, then make something happen. So if I don't have an announcement to make, I say I have an announcement next Friday, and then I got to figure out an announcement by next Friday. So that's sort of what's been going on. Legion of Skanks subreddit was just killed a couple days ago.
I saw that. So what happened there?
Our fans,
meaning what? Like Reddit took it, like stopped it or something?
Reddit
it down?
as a whole said that the community was racist and spreading hate speech. And now we don't run our subreddit. If you know the way Reddit works.
Reddit's a fucking...
These are fan communities.
The day that ours will get knocked down, I love it. Get rid of those motherfuckers.
Yeah, because half of them, they hate you half the time. But it
90%
is...
of the time.
Look, the internet, it's supposed to be a place where people can share ideas. It's supposed to be somewhat free.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to say racist things, make it on an anonymous message board. You keep on taking away these platforms from people. They're going to start doing and saying crazy racist things in real life.
Just let them do their Reddit thing.
Just let them say the comments on YouTube. Let them say the comments on Reddit and Twitter. And then guess what? In real life, we all just everyone's kumbaya. We're all coexisting in real life.
That's an
we all
interesting
walk
thought.
down the street. I don't give a fuck with that guy who he's voting for, what his political or social views are. We don't give a shit. If I go to the deli and I want to buy a sandwich, I don't give a fuck with the deli owner who he's voting for. Give me my sandwich.
Except for that dude who knocked out Rick Moranis. Everyone else is just walking down the street.
Yeah, exactly.
that one guy was not having it.
Yeah, but you see that face. Come on, dude. Just...
I totally get punching Rick Moranis in the head. Without a doubt. I'm surprised.
That guy might not even be that violent or crazy. He was just like, nah.
Yeah, Rick Moranis was surprised everyone cared. He's like, it's been happening for 30 years.
Could you imagine that, man? He's in hiding, though, not hiding, but he was not. I feel like he didn't come out of his house for like 30 years. And then one day he does. He gets knocked the fuck out.
He was like in a Ryan Reynolds commercial, and the next day I was like, I forgot how much I fucking hate your face, dude.
Yeah, it's so funny. That was like remember a couple years ago when the biggest problem in the world was the knockout game? That was it. But that was like dude, they're coming for you, dude.
Which was a fucking problem, though, man. That was fucking crazy.
I guess
doing it to people.
For the Rick Moranis of the world, for me and my friends, it was just good, clean fun, to be honest with you. I guess how often are people just being attacked? It's not happening too often, but the whole online world. I don't know. I sort of I appreciate it. The type of comedy that Legion of Skanks does. Nobody's really doing that type of comedy anymore.
You guys are like the last. I feel like. We never probably went as hard as you guys did in general, but even Barstool, there's just like a lot more on the line, and people grew up and got families, and there's just like money to lose, and we kind of not like we sold out, but it's just not the same as what it once was. You guys, I feel like, are ratcheting it up.
The parameters change constantly, right? So you're right. Look, we do a certain brand of humor, but I come onto a show like this, I'm not doing the same type of humor we're doing on that show.
Go ahead.
Well, and we do to a certain degree, but Legion of Skanks, that brand, we and this was very deliberate, right? We started calling it the most offensive podcast on Earth.
So my question was at what point do you, because what I don't like is being controversial for the sake of being controversial.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it can start to get inorganic, and it can start to be phony. You're just saying this to say this.
Controversial is the wrong word. So we are dirty for the sake of being dirty, edgy for the sake of being edgy. Controversial, it's not controversial to me, right? This is how comics talk to each other in cars. You know what I'm saying? We're not really, it's not even opinionated. It's not like we have these social opinions or these political opinions. We're saying stupid shit. You remember that movie, that documentary, what the fuck was the about the joke, The Aristocrats? Remember that came out a few years ago, and it was an old joke, I guess, that comics used to tell. And the idea of the joke was you would try to say the most offensive shit possible in this joke, and they made a whole documentary about it. And they had 50 comics do their own versions of this joke, and everybody was doing this really offensive joke. And the point wasn't to be controversial or offend people. The point was to see how you can riff within those parameters.
Right, one
and
up
it's
each other
not easy to fucking say offensive shit and get people to laugh anymore. People are pussies. You go to a comedy club or you go online, people are looking to be offended. So it's become almost like a different sort of type of comedy. And that's what I compare Legion of Skanks to. So we are, every episode, we are genuinely trying to be offensive.
Right.
When we're going over the notes, it's not like, well, what happened today?
But it's like within the framework of comedy, right?
Of
Like
course.
you're not going to say something you don't believe just to be offensive.
No.
But you'll be like, how can I describe my opinion on this matter, which I'm being true to? But
the only truth is funny, right? Or with us, right?
Right.
Yeah, we might say something absurd or something sexist or racial or whatever it is, for the sake of being funny in the moment, right? So this is where you get caught. When I go, well, no, I mean this and I don't mean this. It's all jokes. Like we're fucking around. The reality is we're just trying to be as funny as possible. If we start to subcategorize, well, no, this thing I really meant and this thing I didn't really mean.
You'll never stop doing that.
Right, exactly. And if I start apologizing for one, well, that was a joke and that's not a joke, then you're fucked. The second you apologize, the second you say I went too far, I shouldn't, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You are absolutely fucked. So we're completely unapologetic. The show is really offensive. If you get, triggered by certain words, all the no words that you're not supposed to say, it's not going to be the show for you. But the reason we branded it as the most offensive podcast on earth is because nobody really knocks on our door without knowing that. And this is why I think we don't get in trouble the same way other people get in trouble. Because if somebody says, oh, can you believe the Legion of Skanks said that? People are like, it's the most offensive podcast on earth. That's what they do.
I've always said that, like, it's better to be fucking wild and everything you do is crazy. Like, I always use the comparison of Dennis Rodman to Alex Rodriguez. Dennis Rodman, every fucking thing he's ever done is crazy. So when you hear a story about him, like he, fucked this person or fought this person or whatever, you're just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, who
and
cares?
then A-Rod, who was like squeaky clean,
of course,
he does some steroids and people were like, well, kick him out of the this and that. Because it's like what you're used to. The baseline is normal, and then he deviates from that. Whereas when you're just fucking all over the place, no one's gonna no one's gonna ever be up in arms that knows Legion of Skanks and cares about it.
Exactly.
Unless you're looking to be up in arms.
We've developed this fan base. They don't give a fuck.
They don't.
I mean, I think I can murder a baby on air, and they'd be like, cool.
Yeah, honestly,
let's go.
The Skankonia fans are.
They're a really hardcore
Legion
fan base. And it's great that, look, you want to have people like, dude, none of our fan base, we get sort of categorized as this, like, Trump supporters are right wing.
Well, you're
like,
a Proud Boy, right?
Oh, obviously, I'm 4th degree Proud Boy. But it's like our fan base couldn't be any less political. Couldn't give a shit about.
Yeah, I mean, they're trash people. You guys are trash bags.
Yeah,
you
we're
know what I mean?
literally garbage people who are just trying to get high, get fucked up, have a good time, laugh at shitty jokes.
So you like Shane Gillis kind of like is in the mix now, right?
He's
like
in the mix.
Yeah, and that's like relatively newish.
Within our world, or so no. Shane's been a friend of the show for a long time,
right? I guess I was talking to him relatively recently, and because he was in the running as vice president, I believe.
Vice president. Ari Shaffir is the president of Legion of Skanks. Ari Shaffir.
This is one of the best things I saw.
He's not on Legion of Skanks.
This is the best. Ari Shaffir is the president of Legion of Skanks. He's not on the show.
He's not on the show. So tonight, what's funny is we did a whole presidential election, which is sort of a hack radio bit, but we did it our own way. And we just spent 2 months doing this, every single week, a new event. And Ari's just a psycho. Ari brings out the best in us.
Yeah.
Love him or hate him.
Yeah.
He's just he's just like a force. He gets in the room. You're like, all right, dude, we got to pull our dicks out. This is Ari's here. Somebody's got a shit in a hat right now because Ari's here, And that is like, he definitely brought out we started to just try to outdo each other. And it became this competition of trying to be, dirty and filthy and be funny and try to surprise each other. And it all culminated with Big J. Okerson, who's one of the Legion of Skanks, being dosed with acid.
You know the story?
No, in the final episode. So
listen to this though. Yeah. That's his move. But Ari, they tried to outdo Ari.
So
they tried to out Ari, and Ari knew what was going on. It was incredible.
I fucked up. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, it was on me. I fucked up. I thought that I can outsmart Ari Shaffir. Nobody, listen to me, nobody can outsmart Ari Shaffir. That's a fact. I'll tell you right now, okay? So Ari Shaffir, about a year ago, dosed Bert Kreischer with Molly at his house. And it was a whole thing. Like, their friendship behind the scenes was legitimately in question, like real issues
for a while, right?
Real issues with their friendship.
Now,
but
was like, I had to go home to my kids.
Not happy.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck this, dude. Ari's been killing us. I knew he was going to win the election. I was like, I'm going to fucking dose Ari tonight. So this kid brought acid to the show. He was like, do you want acid? I was like, yeah, I want acid. So I had my employees. This is illegal to even say, I think, at this point. I gave it to my employee. I was like, make sure this gets in Ari Shaffir's beer. Okay, just put a tab of acid in his beer. Now, I fucked up and I told Shane, thinking that Shane, you know, look, I get that he's on Team Ari, but at the same time, it's pretty goddamn funny to dose Ari Shaffir with acid on Legion of Skanks. Let us just do it.
All right.
Let us do I assumed that Shane would just let it happen because that is the absolute funniest scenario. No.
Well, I don't know.
Shane goes and tells Ari, okay, so this all happens on camera. So you can go back and watch this episode. You see the moment where Big J gets up to do some little speech. Ari takes the beer, switches it with Jay's. Big J. Now, Big J's never done acid in his life. He has massive anxiety as it is. He's an innocent fucking bystander right now.
I didn't know Big J's never. Big J looks like a guy who does acid.
No. Big J is a pussy when it comes to hallucinogens.
I don't know. Acid. I'm not gonna call someone a pussy if they don't do acid. I think that's a pretty
Real
decent
bitch
line to
move
have.
to not take LSD and give 12 hours of your life to being on another planet, in my opinion. So Jay starts drinking it, right? And then, you know, I'm having this moment. It's brilliant. You got to give Ari so much credit for this because in this moment, like, Ari starts acting like he's on acid. So he's like looking at the lights. And me and my whole side of the table are cracking up like we fucking got him. Finally, we got Ari. We know he's going to win, but fuck it. At least he's tripping on acid now. So I get up and I start gloating like, I am the king of mayhem, Ari. You ain't got shit on me. And then his face just stops and he goes, oh, really? And they reveal that Jay is dosed. And you just see Jay starts to panic. He's like, well, I'm doing it. Did the show ends with Jay? I mean, Jay leaves, trips for 26 hours. Furious with all of his friends for 2 weeks straight. We question whether or not we're going to continue with Legion of Skanks. It was wild. So tonight, from here, I'm going to meet up with my quote-unquote lawyers. We're having the trial of the century. Myself versus Ari Shaffir on Legion of Skanks. Who is more responsible for Jay's dosing? Me for introducing acid or Ari for actually dosing him? So that we're doing Sal
And
Volcano.
Shane, I feel like Shane Gillis has got to be.
Shane's a co-defendant. Sal Volcano from the Impractical Jokers is the judge. We have a 12-comic panel of jurors. It's so fucking stupid, dude.
I love it though. I mean, the
and when
election
people
was
try to say that
incredible.
we're
This
political,
is-
I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? We are dumb. Like literally, like this is where we thrive. And I feel
They're
like
drugging each other.
everyone else,
Hallucinogen.
for some reason, there needs to be this like more serious tone to content,
Yeah.
whatever it is. You know, if you watch a sporting event now, people are taking knees and they're fucking arguing about this, that, and the other. You watch Saturday Night Live, it's all political, all the comedy content, all the movies, everything that goes out there. There's just this tone constantly, and we just don't give a fuck. There's none of that when it comes down to what we do, and I
I'm
think
just not
that's
playing
why.
by your rules. Like
Yeah.
I hate when it happens with celebrities, and I guess comics to an extent now, where it's like you have more so just celebrities, actors, and shit. You have an obligation with your platform. It's like fuck you.
Yeah.
We get that sometimes too. It's like I have an obligation to like my goddamn self.
That's
like,
it. I have an obligation to
my
my
obligation
kid.
is to I gotta pay bills.
Yep.
And I want to try to make you laugh. And like, you know, we in the past year, I probably got caught up more so than anybody at Barstool talking about George Floyd and the protests and all that, saying shit that I believe to be just like common sense. And I realized like you can't win. I'm getting it from every side.
Yeah,
I'm
you'll never
losing
win.
fans. And I was just like, so I'm just not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
And
that's
people are
not-
like,
that's
well,
not
you
why
have
people are
to.
here.
And it's
Yeah.
like, no, I fucking don't.
Well, who said that I'm not a role model? There's a famous quote.
Yeah, Charles Barkley.
Yeah, Charles Barkley. Exactly.
Like,
That's
fuck
exactly.
yeah,
it.
man.
Raise your own fucking kids.
You feel,
my
you know,
job.
I think as a brown person, minority, I think women deal with it a lot. There's this other, you know, like, oh, you have a responsibility for your people. It's like, well, my people aren't defined by my skin tone. I got to be honest with you. My people are defined by who lives under my fucking roof. Simple as that.
That's it.
And I think that, there's a lot of that right now. And we don't, I have my own personal beliefs, and I read the news, and there's things that I really care about. But the only responsibility that I have, or honestly, the only thing that I can really do is create shit that make people laugh. What can I do? Like the more important thing for me, I can go and make a shit ton of people laugh every single week when we do these shows and create, in my opinion, what is very tangible, positive energy, a real positive thing. And when people are like, dude, how could you joke about something like that? I'm like, what are you talking about? We made thousands of people in a collective moment laugh and breathe a moment of fresh air and relief and not think about all the bad shit that's going on in the world. I think there's only positivity from that.
I agree with that. Do you think that like this, the most offensive podcast on the world, do you think that could only exist in the podcast era? Like we were talking about that recently. Like I think it's hard to get canceled now because you're like, my fans like me. It doesn't like eyes aren't going away. They like someone could say like, oh, I'm not gonna go watch that actor's movie, or whatever. Like my fans like me because of this. So you can't really cancel me.
The Skanks fans are gonna be, as long as your fans are bigger than the mob.
Yeah.
You'll always win. You'll always be okay.
Part, I mean, look,
right?
I think where we're trending, it's going to be harder and harder, right? So you look at Reddit, you look at YouTube, you look at these platforms which are, they're regularly just taking away opportunities from people that are just, saying, stupid words, and the whole deplatforming thing. We don't got to get into the bigger conversation, but I think it will get harder and harder. I think eventually iTunes will get rid of guys like Legion of Skanks.
Right. I'm wondering.
All of these companies.
I'm surprised that Apple hasn't even really dabbled in that yet.
They are the one. You got to be honest. You got to give Apple some credit because they just are like hands
stay
off.
out of it.
We don't give a fuck. Create the content, put it up there, and that's that.
Well, you know why? Because I don't think they think of themselves as like a podcast company when they are. Like they're very much so in a way. Like when Spotify is getting into it with Rogan, and that's where all these questions about are they censoring and all that shit, because they like care about it. I feel like Apple's like, we make phones and
we make
products, and
exactly.
and you use them to upload this shit, but we don't care what's going on. The minute that they start caring, I think
they're the tools that artists use, right? And I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs, and I read his biography twice, and I've watched all the documentaries and the movies, and they've always been that.
Do you think that, like, I don't know enough about him to, like, would he have backed, like, no, let them say what they want?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think so. His idea was you give this artist a tool and then he can create better, right? And that was back in the day with graphic design when Apple first came out, and when you're considering what the iPod was, and it's like it's just a piece of equipment that artists can use in order to get their content out there better. So I think that Apple sort of takes that hands-off approach. They're not really I don't really know about them deplatforming too many people. I think a few people have been kicked off of iTunes at this point, but as long as there's as long as the KKK is on PayPal and all these stuff, I'm like, all right, I think they're a little bit bigger than Legion of Skanks, but eventually they will start looking at those platforms, and this is why I created my own platform. Gas Digital is my podcast network, and I just never really wanted to be in a situation where I had a boss, and once the industry never really gave me much love. And I've been on television and radio, and I've gone through the whole rigmarole and the traditional route in comedy, and I never had more success than just doing things myself and understanding how to put my content in the hands of the people that like my content, much more so than the other paths, which were just constantly conforming and changing yourself. And hey, even if you do a late night set, you're like, here's my 5 minutes of jokes. Tell me what I got to take out. And you just give it to them. And you go, cool, I'll take those words out. And you come
just
back.
at a time. Yeah.
And it's a very, we're sort of built to sell out young comedians. We're definitely. Like, in the entertainment industry in general, we're sort of built to sell out. And I wasn't good at selling out, because in order to sell out, you have to be likable. People have to want you to win. They want to buy your shit, right? And I just wasn't good at it. I was never good at getting in those situations. People are like, this guy's a fucking asshole. I don't like him. So I would just rather do shit myself.
I've always kind of thought you need to be like super talented, super likable, and super relatable. That's kind of like you need like two of the three.
I think if you're being likable is the most important thing in the world, right? The absolute most important thing in the world. And every time I've been in a situation where I have to sit down at a meeting with industry or whatever it is, and I find myself being a phony, and I find myself doing all telling the same stories that you're supposed to tell, and I start to hate myself. And then I start to grimace. And then the person sitting across from me is like, what the fuck is your problem, dude? And I'm like, I don't even want to be here. And that's been my whole career. My whole career.
So the most important thing in the world, in your words, is being likable, and you are just not likable.
Not likable at all, dude. I'll tell you right now, it really is. If you want to be a lawyer, doctor, a librarian, if you want to, you know, whatever job, if people like you and they want you to win, it'll be that much easier. So, or you got to be extremely talented, and I'm not really talented.
Right.
So I don't really have anything.
Right.
All I can do is put one foot in front of the other.
I used to think of it as like you need two of those three things, and I'm not extremely talented. And I think in the beginning of my career, people liked me, and I always am kind of like relatable. I feel like I'm just like an average guy.
Yeah.
And then like halfway through my career, I lost the likable thing. So now I'm just holding on to the relatability. Just like please relate to me.
Well, I think you are relatable, and I think that's maybe why people, because I think there's a bunch of curmudgeons out there who get what I say. When I say that, they go, "Oh, I completely get that," and they can relate to that. Right. Just being an unlikable dickhead.
My default is fuck that, fuck him, fuck. And people think of it as like, oh, you hate everything, and it's like I don't. It's just that my opinion usually is to hate, but I don't actually hate a lot of things or a lot of people. But my first reaction to a song or a story or a topic or whatever is like, fuck that. Yeah. And I think that it's not likable, but I think there's a lot of people out there who kind of react that same way.
Yeah, I used to be, I think, that way as well. I used to just be like, I'll just say, broad stroke a genre of music. I was like, yeah, fuck that whole genre.
All of it.
You know, there's some
single thing.
And then I started creating content, right? I started like, you know, putting a podcast out, you put out a comedy special, you put out whatever, and then people start to criticize it, and you're like, hey, dude, you know what, man? We're all just trying out here. So even when a new movie comes out, people are like, dude, that fucking movie sucked. I'm like, you know what, dude? There's a lighting director, and he's got a kid to go home to. You know, who do you think you are? What have you created?
I always think about that where it's just like they're like, you know, we put out a podcast, and it takes an hour. You know, put it twice a week, takes an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. And then, like, it gets criticized, and you're like, God, like, that didn't even take me that long. Where if someone, like, puts, like, a movie for 2 years, and it's like, this movie fucking sucks.
Oh, yeah, dude. We all do that.
I've been
working on that since 1978. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, dude, you think about that. The amount of, like, the new Ghostbusters came out. It was like, dude, I hope everyone involved burns to death right now. Fuck the Ghostbusters. Fuck the entire female race. And you're like, dude, that's somebody, like, most of it was good. Right. You were like, the lighting was good. The special effects were decent.
The cinematography.
Maybe you didn't like certain elements, but I give them a little bit of credit. 500 people had to come together to create this one piece of content.
That's very true, man. How did you know, you, Jay, Dave, like, how did the Legion of Skanks come to be?
I was doing podcasts probably like 11, 12 years ago before it was like everybody was doing podcasts.
Right.
And I was doing Robert Kelly's podcast a lot and just as a guest. And me, Big J, and Dave, we were just, you know, friends. You know, me and Dave both looked up to Big J in comedy. We're, you know, just starting out.
He's man. One of the he tells those stories is just like nuts. You know?
The language of funny. There's almost nobody who is more fluent.
Yeah,
that can sit in a car ride and just make you laugh. Yeah. Sit in a script writing, stand up, podcast, whatever it is. He just understands how to spit out the funniest verbiage, right? And that's, you know, I'm not telling him a compliment. He's lazy as fuck, and it's all natural. Okay.
I mean, when he came in here, he was telling the story about when he used to like dress up as characters for singing for kids' birthdays.
Yeah.
He was talking about just dressing up as Winnie the Pooh and singing like Dr. Dre for the fucking kid in the hood or whatever. And it was just like, this is that was
one of the
funny.
hardest I've laughed on this podcast.
Yeah, well, he's just telling a story. It's not even like, it wasn't scripted. It's not a thing. And it's just like every word out of his mouth is the right word at the right time and the right cadence and the right, you know.
Just understands the timing, the spaces in between words, the silence, really, really gets it. And so fuck him. So, but it's funny is that story relates to Legion of Skanks and how we started. So when we, Legion of Skanks, the name came from Big J used to cheat on his wife all the time, like openly, just didn't fucking care. Just like it was. So one day she was like, "Fine, leave." Me and him were leaving his apartment to go out to shows. She's like, "Fine, leave. Go be with your Legion of Skanks." And me and him both looked at each other. We're like, "That's a fucking great band name." And we were playing Guitar Hero. That's all we did was play Guitar Hero. So our Guitar Hero name, like 12 years ago, 11 years ago, was Legion of Skanks. And for like a year or two, that's all it was.
Fucking grimy.
It was just their Guitar Guitar Hero.
Yeah, it was a Guitar Hero name for like 2 years. And then we wrote a script based off of that job that Jay had. And it was about Jay doing this job where during the day he would dress up as kids' characters and at night he would drive around strippers. You know, his two buddies who would sort of accompany him for rides. And Legion of Skanks, me, Jay, and Dave were written into this script. We actually just did a table read of that script with Ari Shaffir on his YouTube channel. You guys can go listen to that. It was terrible. And so that's what it was for a while. We pitched the script around for a while. And honestly, it's just because we're not creative. We just used the name again. Yeah. We were like, we're going to use it for something. So eventually it became the podcast name. And yeah, dude, I
mean, it kind of, I feel like it's like, it applies now in a weird way. It's like with the fans and the crew.
Yeah.
It's like you're your own version of that now.
It sort of like just came because it was his wife talking about these chicks that were, but it really became, we became the Skanks, fans became this Legion. They call themselves Skanks. And it's become a thing where people, they really feel like they're a part of it. And that's podcasting in general, right? So podcasting, when you sit down, the reason podcasting is such an incredible medium, radio, podcasting, all of it, is because people feel as if, they not even feel like, they truly are. You're sitting down and you're listening to a piece of content be created. And it can never be created the exact same way again. The dynamic, people could be in different moods, even if it's the same two people, right? Things that are going on, it's like a fingerprint. No two podcasts are going to be the same. Even if somebody
you ever lose a podcast, like it wasn't recording or whatever, and you try to like recreate it.
Oh, it's not happening.
Can't do it.
You got to literally go another day. New day. Don't even try to go back.
Don't even talk about the same topics. Like you cannot recreate it. It's impossible.
And I think people like podcasting because they get to listen to that very natural flow of conversation, and you come up with these ideas, these unique concepts, these personalities come together, and you go, holy shit, we came to this conclusion. And it's a little bit of compromise for everybody involved, and that's what's incredible about it. And I think that's when Spotify came out and they were talking about how they wanted to have the right to edit some of Rogan's stuff, and that was, I think, what made people freak out. Because you're like, well, no, even when Rogan gets it wrong, who cares? That's a part of the process. You go like, oh shit, he got it wrong. Okay, he's having a conversation. Everyone gets shit wrong every fucking day. You talk about relatability. We're all getting shit wrong. We all get facts wrong. So why can't you be a fly on the wall? And why can't somebody get something wrong? Why does he have to issue an apology? And why does it have to be, mainstream
So I said,
news?
like when you find out that a podcaster got something wrong, you just go like, oh, shit, he got it wrong. That's it.
Shit.
Like that's just how, that's the reaction. When you find out that your buddy said something wrong in a conversation, it's like, oh, well, I believed him in the moment, but I realized it's wrong. It's not the end of the fucking world. But I'm always interested. I mean, we've been doing this for almost 9 years now, eight or nine. So, I mean, there's very few that we come across that have been doing it longer than us. So I feel like there's always, I mean, is there anybody who precedes you guys that you like?
That I mean, Bobby Kelly was Bobby Kelly. I don't know if you guys have a Bobby in here, but he's
not yet. That's one guy we got to check off. Was he doing like a podcast or was it like comedy?
Yeah, no, he was doing a podcast. Robert Kelly's You Know What Dude podcast.
Yeah, so
and
that's
Bobby,
that's got to be what, like pushing 15 years?
Probably 12 years ago, something like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I started doing it on his network. He created a podcast network before anybody had podcast networks, and yeah, Bobby is one of the funniest people on the planet, and his show was great. I mean, it was an extension sort of the Opie and Anthony world, and I didn't even grow up on it. I grew up on Howard Stern. I listen to Howard Stern every day, on my way to high school. But I think that a lot of those fans, they didn't have anywhere to go. Opie and Anthony
kind of lost.
They were like, what do we do now? And I think some of these podcasts now sort of are carrying the torch, and I think that a lot of it is just leftover people being like, yeah, I want to laugh at some fucked up comedy, and it just doesn't
Is there
exist.
anybody you guys think of as like a competition, I guess, in that regard of like, we're the dirtiest, we're the most offensive, we don't give a fuck?
No,
I really don't think there's many left, man.
No, there's nobody that's doing it like we. I mean, there are competitions is the wrong word. Like, there's guys like Tony Hinchcliffe, Kill Tony. Like, those guys don't give a fuck. Those guys are doing some some ballsy shit, and they don't. We go on their show. They don't give us any restrictions. I mean, obviously, we were on Anthony Cumia's network for a while. Cumia and Compound Media, what they're doing over there, they don't give a fuck at all. But in terms of mainstream and guys that are out there, I don't think really everyone's afraid to take risk. Everyone's just afraid to lose that opportunity. I mean, there are people that won't do Legion of Skanks as guests because, like, dude, I don't want to like be
associated with.
Yeah,
it's not even
really?
like what you say. It's
For
like,
sure.
just don't be on the show.
For sure.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah. Like, you could go on there and be as proper as you want,
Yeah.
and denounce everything you guys are saying, but just the mere fact that you're on it would be
people.
too much. I just want to get my money right and then go say whatever I want. Just
Right? That's-
fucking gotta
dude,
get there.
I'm
Once
going-
I'm set. Like,
Listen to me. One day I'm
baby.
gonna show up on Legion of Skanks in blackface, and you'd be like, "Oh shit, Lewis has got 10 million in the bank." Just realize
Hit Powerball or some shit, like,
I'm gonna because I used to say I was like, all right, I'm gonna get enough money and then I'll just disappear. I'll just fucking you'll be like, where's Lewis? He's gone one day. But that's not even it. I'll get so much money that I won't give a fuck.
Yeah.
That's what happened with like Howard
best.
Stern. It's why Stern didn't apologize when they caught him using the N-word and blackface and doing all the prosthetics. He was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fucking cancel me? I'll buy an island. I'll literally buy an island. You can't do anything."
That's what he's saying. When you get the money and when your fan base is bigger than the mob, it's like you can't cancel me.
That wasn't even news. It was like
That was a blip on the radar.
It was. I don't even think it got a blip.
Yeah.
It was,
He just didn't. He was like he didn't apologize. It was great, you know.
Yeah.
And people that hate on Stern,
I mean,
like,
it was, he said something like, "Yeah, I'm an asshole."
he was like, "Yeah,
I've always
that
been
was
an
what we
asshole.
did." He was like, "Would I do it again? Maybe, maybe not." He wasn't even like. He was so like, "Oh, what are you gonna
Yeah,
do?"
just double down. Man.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was a great moment. I think that's the way you handle it, because the reality is, it's bully mentality. So that woke mob and that cancel culture mob. All it is bully mentality.
It's
right?
like reverse bullying in a way. Like they're usually the ones who got bullied who are now bullying
Exactly.
back.
By the way, I've coined the phrase reverse bullying so many
Yeah.
times because it's all these people. They do it online. Some chick will be like, they talk shit about you, and then you're like, "Fuck you, bitch," and all your friends are like, "Yeah, fuck you, fat bitch," and she's like, "Look, everyone's bullying me." It's like, no. You reverse bullied me, and now you're dealing with the wrath of it. So
Right, and we always just run into that too. It's like you're not used to talking shit to somebody who has like a big fan base who's going to get offended as well. Like we usually tell our fans like let us handle it because we know how to do it, better.
course.
But yeah, it's like you don't run into many people that have a legion of people who are going to be like fuck you.
But that they want a reaction, so they want to see you move, right? So they go like, "Oh, cool, you'll apologize. I just want to see that you can apologize." They don't even really give a shit.
No,
They,
no.
So what's going on with this Seth Simons? Is that his name?
yeah.
He is like a comedy blogger. He covers like the scene and just talks shit about guys he doesn't like. It's like I know it's you. I know it's Tim Dillon. I know it's like just basically the funny people.
Yeah,
in
all
world.
the funny
Yeah.
guys that are still doing edgy shit out there. Yeah.
Is he a comic? I don't know if you don't want to talk
I
about it.
think he
care,
was
but,
a
like,
comic. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'll talk about it. It doesn't matter. He's a guy who he's the guy who wrote the blog that sort of went viral when Shane got fired, right?
Okay.
So I don't want to say he got Shane fired because the reality is, Shane said a lot of crazy shit on podcasts, and they were going to uncover that.
Yeah, when we had him in here, I was like, "You're just not an NBC primetime guy."
It was going to be a
guy,
problem. Okay,
Yeah.
when we heard that Shane got it, it was like, yeah, but they know what you're saying podcast, right? And he was like, yeah. They said it's cool.
that was doomed.
But here's the problem with this guy, right? So he writes the article that goes viral, and yeah, I do believe somebody else would have written the same article, right? And Shane wasn't getting SNL like that, but it's almost like he gloats about it, like, look what I did, and then he tries to write more articles. Like his thing has become that he's trying to get guys like me in trouble. And he's trying to sort of kick up dust and get the cancel culture mob after us. He struck gold. He struck lightning with that one article. He's written 10 fucking articles since. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Who's even his audience? It's like your fans are reading it just saying "fuck you."
I don't
think he has
even-
his own audience to,
I don't
to
even know.
actually rally.
If I was getting SNL or some sort of like big mainstream show, maybe he can kick up some dust.
Yeah.
But it's like, what are you? Who are you writing articles for? It's like, look,
yeah.
the Legion of Skanks. They say crazy shit. It's like, okay, we're podcasters.
Yeah, we named ourselves the most offensive podcast on earth.
So this guy, he has this. He essentially has it out for us. At this point, once again, emotion sells, right? So what these people do is they create more emotion for us. We have a festival, Skankfest. We have a podcast network, Gas Digital. Our fan base, every time they say something, our fan base, they strengthen the relationship.
I know, yeah,
with
we
the
say
fan
that all
base.
the time too.
I watched, when we had Louis C.K. show up for Skankfest a couple of years ago, after he was canceled, we had however many millions of impressions online. Half of them were people saying, fuck this venue, they should be canceled and shut down. But we weren't talking about that. When I went to sponsors and said, hey, just so you know, we had 20 million impressions last year, the sponsors just went, cool.
Yeah, right.
Like that it's as
Yeah.
simple as that. So the more they talk about it, literally in a very literal sense, the more they line my pockets.
Yeah.
So I want to, please keep on writing articles, keep on getting my fan base to be that much more emotional. Because I think it only strengthens what we have.
So, and what happened over the summer with this dude who pulls you off stage? What was ever the repercussions of that?
Oh.
Was that was a brother or a boyfriend? I think I initially heard it was a boyfriend.
So
of
yeah,
a
it
girl,
was
but then
Big
it
J
was a
got
brother?
pulled. Big J got
Yeah,
pulled
Big
off
J, sorry,
stage.
yeah.
Yeah. So we were at a show, and Big J was trashing this girl. She was just drunk and being a fucking idiot. So he's just trashing her. And at that point, he was trashing her so good that I just went over next to the stage to get a better, I wanted to hear it because it was so funny because this girl's just drunk. And, she's like, fuck you, you're all racist. And she's like yelling at the crowd. The crowd's just cackling, laughing at her face. Everyone's pointing and laughing to the point where she's getting more angry the more they're laughing. And the more she's getting angry, the more they're laughing. So it's just
it's a microcosm of what you just described with the bloggers. It's like you talk your shit and complain and we love it. And
yes, and they're fucking and everyone at this point is just having a ball, having a blast. She goes to leave, right? And Big J is like, all right, see you later, blah, blah, blah. Still trashing her. So her brother at that point bum rushes the stage and is like, that's my fucking sister. And he grabbed Big J by the leg and just pulled him off the stage. And you see me run out from
you
behind.
were right. I mean,
yeah, dude, I try.
You're not a dude I want pouncing on me.
Well, I'm too fat and slow, so I didn't make it. He pulled Jay off the stage, and I climbed down slowly. But yeah, it was. People get fucking stupid.
Yeah,
nothing came up. Big J wasn't hurt. He wasn't hurt.
Press charges or something.
We tried to, but it was the amount
work
of
you gotta
effort.
do.
To go back to
paperwork
fucking
and shit.
Pennsylvania. It's just not worth it. Nobody got hurt. So, and he got the worst of it anyway. Like the fans, I think, roughed him up a little bit. I heard. I didn't see anything, obviously. Apparently he maced himself. That's what I heard. He may have maced himself. He may have kicked himself a bunch in the chest. I don't know.
Walked into a couple doors the next day.
Yeah, who knows?
Thing,
Who knows?
Yeah. How bad did the election hurt? Was that tough for you, or did you just kind of keep it moving? Is that going to be a yearly?
It's 2 years.
For 2 years, okay.
He's a
2-year term for Ari?
He's a president for 2 years.
That's a 2-year reign of terror, man. That is. Has he enacted anything? Did he change any rules? Like,
well,
what does the president
he's allowed
do?
to call in once per episode and mute somebody's microphone. It's been my microphone every episode.
For the whole show?
No, for a minute.
Oh,
One minute muting power. He could.
I love this shit. I fucking love how the Skanks does this. I think it's amazing.
He could veto any bit. So for the past 5 years, we've done something called the Badass Battle of the Bands, and you have like one band every year wins a few $1,000, and they get their songs played before the show every week for a month, and it's a big deal for these like young bands around the country.
He just nixed it.
He's like, no. He's like, I hate it.
Spite, he just doesn't like it.
He doesn't even not like it. He just
wants the power.
He just is a fucking asshole.
Just like crushing some band's dreams.
Yeah.
That's fucking incredible,
So,
man.
we'll see what happens.
Shit. And so is there anything next for the Skanks? Do you guys even think in terms like that? Like, do you have any? Oh, you got this fight. What's going on with this MMA fight?
So do you guys know Jason Ellis?
Yeah. I mean, I know the name. I know. I'm not plugged into the MMA world or as much as.
So Jason Ellis is a radio host. He hosts Jason Ellis Show on Sirius XM. Former professional skateboarder and former professional mixed martial artist. He's got a couple fights. I did he does a thing called Ellis Mania every year, which is essentially, I think you guys do like Rough and Rowdy or something similar. It's a similar concept, I believe. Whereas this fans show up, they fight each other, they do silly fights, they do roller skate fights, they, a bunch of different, events. And last year I ended up, or I guess 2 years ago now, I ended up doing an MMA fight against another comedian. Won that fight. I'm not an athlete, never trained for anything in my life. But it was a cool experience, really, really cool experience. So since
and you won.
I won. Yeah. I ended up winning a decision. And Jason Ellis, who's got a lot of experience, somebody asked him if he would ever fight me, and then he started talking shit. He was like, he's Australian, so I'm not going to do an Australian accent. But he's like, I'll kick his ass, Mike. And so then I just took the bait, and I was like, well, fuck it. All right, dude, I'll fight you. Just because, why not?
Well... that's you might get your head beat in. Like that's what I would be worried of. But
he's kind of a scary dude. I gotta be honest with you. It's definitely a much tougher challenge than the last comedian that I fought. But I don't know, dude. The way that I look at it is like I train a bunch, I get in shape, right? At the end of it, I gotta fight this guy. I'll make a bunch of money. Who gives a shit? What's the worst that could happen? I get beat up. Then I'm in great shape at the end of it. I got a bunch of money in my pocket. If somebody said I'm gonna give you fucking abs and put thousands of dollars in your pocket, all you gotta do is let Jason Ellis punch you in the head. You probably do it, right? I think most people would. I just don't really have I don't know if you ever trained any martial arts. I haven't done a ton. For the last fight and now for the past few months, I've been doing it pretty seriously. It's fun. It's really fun. If you go and spar and you go and getting punched and kicked, adrenaline sort of kicks in. You don't really feel the pain that way. You're not going like, ooh, ow, ooh. It's not like your friend's punching the arm on your birthday, right?
Yeah.
You're competing, and it is anybody who's ever trained before, they know what it's like. It's a cool experience. Overall, it's very, very cool. So that's what's going on. I don't think of myself as a real mixed martial artist. I know that I'm probably biting off more than I can chew, but I do have an undying belief in my ability to accomplish any goal. And if the goal is beating up a 50-year-old Australian guy, if that's the fucking hill that I got to get over.
Yeah, we're not setting it too high.
That's not fucking. I got to look at my 7-year-old son in the face and say he can do whatever he wants to with his life. There's nothing that he can't do.
Yeah.
I can't beat up a 50-year-old Australian. That's the hill I can't get over. What type of father am I?
So you got everything on the line here. You
put your fatherhood on the line, man.
Well, that's
you put
where
your son's future on the line.
I really think of it that way, though. It's almost like
but
that.
Now, all right, but
there's multiple paths to get there. That's not. I believe there's almost anything in life if you want to do it. There's a path to get there. There's a series of decisions you can make to get you from point A to point B to point C to point Z, right? Whatever it is. It could be a billionaire, it could be fucking becoming an Olympian, whatever it is.
Right.
For almost anybody in the world, I really believe that deep down inside.
Right.
So
you just got to make those choices, yeah.
Is that line, Jason Ellis beating him in a fucking physical competition, is that the line that I can't cross? He's about my size. We're going to weigh 205 pounds. He's about 6 foot, 6'1".
And how old are you?
38.
All right, so he's got he's older, but he's got experience.
He's got a lot more experience.
Yeah.
He's athletic.
When was his last fight?
A few years ago, but he's athletic. He's got a. But I mean, the reality is, you're punching each other in the face.
But see, that's what I would worry about with MMA is like, yeah, maybe we can all just like slug it out, but like, is he gonna like? Because he'd have like submission holds and shit.
He'll have all that.
I mean,
he's got a ton of jiu-jitsu
Are you
experience.
learning that?
Oh yeah, dude. I trained with Mickey Gallo, who's a UFC 170
that was what
pounder.
would scare me. Is like he's gonna put me in some hold I've never even fucking heard of, and I'm
Yeah, I put a lot of time in. I've been training really. I think I feel like I look pretty good at this point.
I was just saying, when you came in here, I didn't know. I was like, oh, you're a big dude.
Yeah. I feel pretty good about it. And the reality is, also worst case scenario is like, let's say I lose this fight. I am that much better able to handle myself, right? I'm that much able to protect myself, my family, my girlfriend, my son, my loved ones. So there's all of this plus side. And the only negative side of it is losing a fight.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever lost.
Honestly,
I've got my ass kicked before.
Right. Yeah, and it feels like I don't even want to talk too much about losing it because I don't want to put that out there in the universe. But it's like if he's the one with the experience and he's expected to win,
way more to lose than me. If he doesn't finish me in the first, he fucking loses, in my opinion.
Right,
okay,
right.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think he's going to finish me in the first.
Right.
I'll tell you right now, I'm training to win this fight. I'm training to knock this guy out.
Yeah.
So whenever the fight does happen, we don't have a date for it yet. He's recovering from knee surgery.
Just kick him in the fucking knees, man.
Dude, he also had like a heart thing.
Punch him in the heart.
I've been doing just 1-inch punch just over and over again, practicing that. A lot of knee kicks. And people are like, dude, what if you killed him? Like I would feel like a god amongst men. If I actually killed him in the first death in MMA, North American MMA, I would feel like that'd be pretty badass. I don't want him to die. I'm just saying that I wouldn't feel bad. That's his own choice.
I love it, dude. All right, we're gonna go next door and answer the internet if you got a little bit more time.
Yes,
but,
sir.
Legion of Skanks is everywhere. You're at the stand. Every
Monday nights? Yeah, Monday nights. Legion of Skanks at the stand live. We're outdoors as long as the weather permits. And my podcast network, Gas Digital Network. I got 3 shows that I host. Believe You Me with Michael Bisping, who's a former UFC middleweight champion, and then the Real Ass podcast. And Gas Digital. It's I think like 10,000 hours of content streaming at your fingertips. So
Awesome,
go check it out.
Great shit. I'm gonna hit you with a little YouTube sabermetrics, okay? Only 15% of people who watch the videos on the KFC Radio channel are actually subscribed. That means,
you fucking lurkers! I'm
right?
tired. Yeah,
free
I'm tired of
85% freeloaders.
Retweet, like, fucking heart on Instagram.
Rate, review, subscribe.
If you enjoy content, double tap it.
Literally,
double tap to subscribe.
Just click. It doesn't. I think you only have to click it once, not even double.
Well, okay,
just
fine.
one click.
But I'm not a mathematician. Just a one click works.
Because I don't want. If you double click, you might subscribe and then unsubscribe.
Oh, true.
So just one click.
3 clicks.
3 clicks to subscribe, because otherwise, I mean, it literally doesn't affect you at all, and it will basically make our careers so much better.
Oh,
Please
so much
fucking
better.
do it.
Oh, you'll get us so good.
Please.
You'll get us going
Come
so
on.
good. 85% of you. Triple
Don't
like.
be poor.
Triple the thing. The subscribe thing.
Smash that button, as they say.